Hi everybody, if you can hear me, please just let me know. I am just trying to join you in the chat. And we'll be with you in a second. Okay, so everyone can hear and see me, wonderful. So we will just give everybody a couple minutes to join. It is very hot in Durban tonight. I don't know if you can see, I'm a little bit frazzled, but we will get through this. So to all my Durban people, strongs, I hope you make it through this absolute heat wave that we are having. So while we are waiting for everybody to join, we'll just talk a bit about what's going on the group. So every week we obviously have a weekly challenge, and this week is red or pink. So you've got to choose either red or pink, and then you can have contrasting colors like your beiges and whites and blacks. And you're basically going to be celebrating the color that you choose. So it's very, very easy and it's perfect for Valentine's Day. So I'm very excited to see everybody's crafts. Hello everybody that's joining. Lovely to see all of the familiar faces. I love seeing everybody joining week after week, so thank you very much for joining. Again, it is very hot in Durban, so my hair is actually sticking to me and I'm feeling a bit frazzled, but we will get through it. So while we're waiting for everybody to join, there it is. So this is our Love Notes sampler. So it is the acetate, foil acetate, and I used this in the last class and I'm using it again in this class, and you can get this from www.secretsale.co.za. They have a lot of amazing specials. So if you haven't ordered from them yet, you should definitely get to doing that. So I'm seeing a lot of people joining. Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining. So tonight we are going to be making a little boxy. So I make this box often. It is perfect for little treats. So it opens up and you can stick little treats in it. You can even put a little gift in it. So obviously we're going to be doing Valentine's theme, of course. And then I'm also going to be doing a print then cut card, and I'm using a watercolor Cricut card. So I don't have the cover for it, but there it is there. Very bright in here. There we are. So you can also get that from Secret Sale. And then lastly, we're going to be making this little print then cut pillow box. I love filling these with marshmallows for the kids. They absolutely love it. So, as always, this class is proudly sponsored by Cricut and Logitech, and let's get into it. Okay, so we are going to be starting in Design Space. If you have been following Kim's posts, she does posts every day and she features different designs, different fonts, different things that you can do on Design Space. So if you haven't been following them, you probably should. But if you have been following them, you would have seen that she shared this really cute Valentine's box. It's actually called a Galentine's box. So tomorrow is Galentine's Day, which is a day for girls to celebrate friendship. So we're going to start with the Galentine's box. So this is one of the things that we're going to be using. So let's look for Galentine's Day box. I think that's what it's called. I probably should have bookmarked this one, and I'll probably have at some point. So this is actually, I think it's a Cricut project. Valentine's Day, or is it Valentine? There it is, Valentine's Day gift box. So I love this gift box. I use it for every season. All I do is I just change up the front of it to whatever the season is. So I've done Christmas with a little gingerbread house on the front. I've done for breast cancer awareness. I've done for Valentine's Day. I've done for birthdays. I absolutely love this box, and it is so easy to use. So we're going to say customize. Okay, it's just busy loading, and we're going to get rid of the pieces that we don't want. So we don't need any of that. We are going to decorate it ourselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a square, and that is going to go here, and that is going to be for our front piece. So this is what I'm creating. I'm creating the sort of pattern that's going to go on the front. So while we're working on this, what I'm going to do, so let's just move this to the side quickly, because I find it easier to work on the biggest one first. So we're going to be using our layouts, and we're going to be using the cutaway card, I think it is, yes, and we're going to be using the R40 size. And this is just going to give us our template sizing so that we know how big we need to make our piece for the front. So we're again going to put in a square, and we're just going to size it to how we want it. So remember, if you were doing a cutaway card, you would obviously only put your pattern or your design up until these little dashed lines. Because we're not doing that, we can obviously go up to the edge if we want to, but we do want a little bit of a gap. That's going to give it a little bit of definition. So we just want a little bit of a gap, and then you can actually get rid of that. You don't need that anymore. So what we're going to do is we're now going to offset this. So if you have a look at the card, I have shared the design already. You should be able to find it in the description of the video. So if you look at the card, I've actually got a black piece of cardstock that I've stuck the design onto. So this is going to be our very back piece, and then what we're going to do is we're going to offset this, and we're going to use a negative offset. So remember, you can make the offset move into the shape instead of out of it, and that's going to be your negative offset. So to do that, we're just going to say minus, oh no, 0.1. 1 is 1 centimeter. We don't want it so big. Let's go 0.2. And we're going to say apply. So there we've got our two different layers, and this is going to be for our card. And now we're going to actually create our little design that we're going to be using for print and cut. So this is super easy. Print and cut really is not hard at all. If you are experiencing difficulties, it's usually because there was a little step that was missed. So just take a couple steps backwards and run through everything again, or run through the steps that you took, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. But if you don't, we are here to help. So you are more than welcome to post your questions on the group. So again, I know a lot of people have already been to these classes, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to pop them into the comments of this video, the chat of this video, and if I don't get to it, then one of the lovely admins definitely will. Okay, so I searched for lips. This project was actually inspired by another one that I saw on Design Space. I really loved it. So what I'm going to do is I want to look for my bookmarked images, because I bookmarked everything. So this is the one that I used. Okay, we're going to make this a bit smaller. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that. So the reason I'm duplicating it is that obviously I want the pattern to be continuous. I want it to run across the entire card. I don't just want it to be on the top of the card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this firstly, and you'll see why in a second. So let's see if we can just move that. Then I'm going to take both of my patterns that I've just added in. As you can see, everything is one color, and I'm going to weld that. So the reason I'm welding it and I'm not uniting it is that if I unite it, it is still going to be two separate objects that are just going to be kind of stuck together. So if I try to slice that, what's going to happen is it's not going to allow me to slice, because it's going to pick up 3 layers and not 2. So here my weld result has made it into one layer, and I will be able to slice it against that offset. So we're going to grab those, and we're going to say slice, and then we're going to delete everything but the red one. And that is why I kept this, so I can just slot it in here. Okay, so now we have our pretty lips pattern, and that is the one we're going to use. But with it being against a black backing, I did want it to kind of pop a little bit more, so I added an offset. So unfortunately, with the offset, I have to do this afterwards, which means I'm going to have to slice it again. And the reason for that is I cannot weld my offset and my lips, because then they're all going to turn to the same color anyway, and we're not going to get that nice definition. So let's go 0.1. That looks good. There we are. So we're just going to duplicate this offset again because we're slicing again. And now I'm going to take the white one and the original offset, and I'm going to slice that. And that's just making sure that I don't have pieces sticking off of the end. Remember, with print then cut, you need to have something solid behind it. If you don't have something solid, it's going to try and cut out every single element. So specifically with this one, if I have pieces sticking off the end, then what's going to happen is it's going to actually start cutting those pieces, and you're not going to get a nice clean cut. So we're going to just take all of that, and we're going to say align, center horizontally, center vertically. That's just going to make sure. Vertically was not a good idea, so let's just say Control Z. That looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this color so that I can see better. Make sure nothing's hanging off of the edges. Everything looks good. So what I would then be able to do is I would be able to flatten that. And it's literally that simple for print then cut. Number one, make sure you have a solid backing. There is something solid behind it that's going to stop it from cutting out all of the different elements and layers, and grab all of it and flatten it. So I see Karen asking in the comments, has it cooled down in Durban? It actually has not. It is 7 o'clock at night and it's 30 degrees. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so now I'm just going to grab all three of these, and I'm going to say flatten. And you can see that it changes, kind of the outline for it disappears. That's perfect. Now we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to duplicate this 3 times. So Susie, this is where I lost you last time. So remember, however many layers I'm slicing, I need that amount of solid objects to slice it with. So we're going to grab all 3 of those. We're going to say align, center horizontally and center vertically. And then we're going to unflatten it. I'm going to get rid of the offset in the background because I don't need it. And I'm just going to slice each of them. So if you look here on the side, I can see this is the white piece on the outside with the middle gone, so I can delete that. I can see this is the white square. I need that, so I'm going to keep that, and I don't need the black pieces. So then again, we're going to do it with the red one. Just slice that. And we're going to look for the one, it's easier to see now with the red, we're going to look for the one that we need. So we don't need the outline, we don't need the black, and we don't need the other black. Oopsie. So there we've got our white and our red, and we're going to group that. So the reason we're grouping it is so that when I align it, it doesn't do what the other one did. So we're just going to grab those, say align center horizontally, center vertically. I probably could have made that a bit smaller. Let me just do that quickly. So you can see on this one, I've only got two actual lips, which doesn't really look that good. So I'm just undoing everything, and I'm just going to slice them again quickly. So Control, yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller so that I get more patterns. And then I'm just going to quickly do that again. You see, I can also just grab it there, get rid of all the black ones. There we are, that's better. So we're going to group this, and then we're going to say align, center horizontally, center vertically, and flatten. Very, very simple. There is our print then cut pieces. So I'm making this a bit smaller because I should, do I have a piece behind it? No, I don't. So I don't need to make it smaller. There we are. So that's going to stick directly onto our box. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go to our images, and again I have bookmarked it. So this is, I think I just searched for pillow box, to be honest. I do think I just searched for pillow box. I made it a bit bigger, and then again duplicate our design. So we've already created the pattern, we don't need to recreate it every single time. So we're going to duplicate this 3 times, and that's where it gets tricky. So let me move some of the stuff out of the way so that it doesn't confuse anybody. There we are. So these pillow boxes are also one of my favorite things to make. They are super, super easy. So with the pillow boxes, it is a little bit more complicated because you do have the score line. So if you look on the sides, it says attach, and you've got your score line and you've got your pillow box. So with the ones we're going to be slicing, we actually need to detach them first. Detach, and we're going to delete the score lines because we're just using them to slice. Again, we're going to detach, and then we're going to delete the score line. So we're just going to say align center horizontally, center vertically, and then we're going to follow the same process. So we're going to, oopsie, we're going to find our print then cut first. So we're going to, so if you look in the corner or on the side here, you can see I'm getting an error for my print then cut. So let's just make sure that it fits within the correct sizing. We don't want to go over a page, obviously. There, that's good. Now we can detach it. Oh, that's the wrong one. Control Z. There, we found it. So we're going to unflatten that. Again, we're going to get rid of our black offset, and we're just going to start slicing. So remember, with slicing, you can only do 2 layers at a time, which means when something's flattened, like the one we're using, for instance, that has 3 layers. So even though it's been flattened, it is still 3 separate layers. You have to unflatten it, and you will have to slice each of those layers individually, which is what we're obviously doing. And then we're just going to get rid of all the pieces we don't need. I don't know if we need that one. And then we're going to group this. And again, that's to keep it together. We're going to send this to the back. So if you haven't noticed, there was an update. So it looks like I'm on the live version of Design Space, but there was an update. And if you, like me, use your mouse quite often, your send to back, bring forward is now hidden under arrange. So if you lose it, don't stress. Okay, so we've got our group, and we're just going to find our design. There it is there. So now this is very, very important. We're going to detach this. So did I align these? There we are, they're aligned. Okay. So we're going to detach the score lines from our box. But it is very, very important that you do not move them in any way whatsoever, because that'll obviously throw off your score lines. We're going to change this to black. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flatten our design onto it. We're then going to send that to the back, and we're going to take our score lines and our flattened, that thing, and we're going to reattach that. So remember, attaching allows multiple functions to work together on the same mat. So if you wanted to print then cut and then score, you have to attach your score lines once you're done. If you flatten it, it will literally just be little lines that are printed on your design, which you don't want. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of things going on in the chat, but it doesn't look like anybody needs me, so I'm going to soldier on. So we're going to go back to our card, and if you find it easier to design just the card and then move on to the other thing, you can do that. This is just the way that I kind of work. So now we're going to insert 2 more images. We're going to insert our XOXO, and we're going to insert this little guy here. Not very little at the moment. We're just going to resize this. And this is going to be for our little piece on the front. So I did make it quite big. Let's just move this out the way. I did make it quite big. And then what we're going to do, so this is going to be our piece of acetate. So that color is fine. Remember, the colors will help you to figure out which one goes on which mat. So as long as you know in your head that the sort of off blue is the acetate, then you will be good. So we're going to add an offset. And we're going to go with, oh wow, something just dropped. 0.2 is good. That offset is going to be white, and that's going to just help it stand out a bit from our design. This one, we want to bring this to the front so that it is on top, like so. You can make them smaller. And we're going to give that an offset as well. So with this offset, if we zoom in, you can see that it's got little holes. I did not want that. So what we're going to do is we are going to say contour. I see Mumtaz is saying that she better hide quickly before she gets challenged. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to say that whatever the challenge is, I challenge you, Mumtaz, and I love you dearly. Okay, we're going to change that to black. And now we want our XOXO to be different colors. So I went with red X's. It's hugs and kisses. Big hug, little hug. So we're going to do that, and then this is going to be white. And that's literally the entire design. So obviously I changed this to white so we could see it better. We just need to change that back to black. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab all of this. Oopsie, and we're just going to group that so that we can duplicate and duplicate, because we're using it across all of our items. Obviously, if you want to do a different thing on each one, that's completely up to you. You don't have to do it exactly as I've done it. I just wanted it to be a little set. Okay, so with this one, obviously, it's going to fold across here. And on this side, there's a little fold there. So you just want it to fit sort of in the middle, but you also don't want it to be too big, because obviously it's going to fold and that's going to make your surface area a little bit smaller. So Judy says it definitely has Gossip Girl vibes again. I feel like maybe I need to watch Gossip Girl again. Maybe that's what the universe is trying to tell me. So the last thing we need to do, if we have a look, everything is ready. It's ready to be cut. The last thing we need to do is we need to change our box to black so that it cuts the correct color, or that it appears on the correct mat, should I say. Let me just move my laptop out of the way. Okay, so there we are. That is our design. It's ready to go. So if you would like to make this design, you can find it obviously on my profile. So it has been shared again. If you look in the comments or in the write-up of the video, you should see it there. So here it is here. I will rename it so that it's more in line with the class name. But there it is. It is super simple. So you can also go and reverse engineer it and make it into your own. That's completely up to you. Okay, so I'm just, let's say make, maybe we should save. We'll just save it as that. So one of the things that I love about this project could not be saved. Check your internet. Oh no, that's not good. So one of the things that I love about this little set is that it's so quick to make. So you'll see with me explaining everything, it's taken us 25 minutes to design this. It's very, very easy. You can obviously personalize it however you want, and it doesn't even use a lot of material. So you can see we've got 2 print then cut. We're going to make these A4, and then we've got 1 sheet of white, 2 of black, a tiny bit of red. Where's our white? Oh no. So this is what's happened. So I have the backing as normal white, and then these little guys were glitter white. So I made it all white, and what's happened is Design Space is saying that obviously because it's all white it needs to be on the same mat, but that's not the case. I actually want these to be on different mats, so I'm going to say move object, new, and I'm going to put it onto a grey one. So to avoid that happening, you can just make the little O's grey, and then that won't happen. Okay, so let's say continue. We're going to start with printing our print then cut. So you can see we've got A4 selected, which is obviously what my printer prints. I'm going to be using an inkjet photo paper. It is 180, what is it, GSM. You can obviously use whatever you have. There's no really specific brand that I recommend. Just whatever you have available is fine. These are my last 2 sheets. So I'm using an Epson EcoTank printer. Again, any printer that prints well will work. So we're going to say continue. So Jackie said 25 minutes for me, it'll take her an hour and 25. Honestly, I don't think so. I've already made this, so we obviously have to take that into account. I have already spent time making it, so it's just kind of remaking it. But it's super easy. I think once you get going, you will be surprised by how quick it is. So there it is ready. If your design is not showing up here, chances are it's not going to print. So if on the make it screen your design is not showing up, then it could be that it's just a fraction too small, and then what I do is I usually go back to the mat and I just size it down slightly. Okay, so we're going to say next. I'm going to give it a second, and we're just going to make sure we have the correct printer, and we're going to use system dialog. So there is a lot of chatter about bleed, and what bleed does is it's going to add a little border around everything that you print. And the reason that it does that is when the machine cuts, that little bleed is going to stop white from showing. So a lot of people recommend turning the bleed off. I recommend always leaving it on. And the reason for that is if, for instance, it had printed a bleed around the lips on this design or around the heart, I would know immediately that my machine was going to cut there and that I've done something wrong with the design, and I could then go back and fix it. So I recommend always using the bleed. It is very, very helpful for seeing where your machine is going to cut before you go through the process of cutting it. And then the other one is use system dialog. Always use system dialog. If you don't, what's going to happen is your printer is going to be done in your basic printer settings, which is usually like a document setting, so you're not going to get a very good print. Okay, so we're going to say print, and then what's going to happen is it's going to bring up the dialog box for my printer. I'm going to choose Epson Premium Glossy, and I'm going to use a high quality print. I'm going to make sure I'm set to A4, and I'm going to say print. So I see Kim is saying let's try one for Easter, and I assume we're talking about this. I've actually done Easter boxes and the kids loved them, so I did a whole bunch. I must actually find the photos. I did a bunch of these for Easter, and all of the kids got like a different picture on the front, and then I wrapped them up with ribbon, and they were super cute. So yes, Easter is definitely the time to be using these little boxes. And for the pillow boxes, my youngest loves mini marshmallows, so for everything, for birthdays, for Easter, for everything. She gets a pillow box filled with marshmallows and she loves it. And I see Jackie is now pushing the deadline to Christmas, and I must say that it is respectfully declined. I think we will be sticking to Easter. Although Jackie has now thrown out a very good idea, so I'm just going to say done on screen while I'm busy talking to everybody. So Jackie has actually thrown out a really good idea and said this would be great for an advent calendar at Christmas, and I love that idea. Love that. So I'm just going to say done because it's still printing, so I'm going to actually get going with the next print. And then we can start cutting everything and assembling it, which is the fun part. I actually have paper in my printer already. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to follow the same process, send to printer, and I'm going to add my bleed. I'm going to use my system dialog. I'm going to say print, and then I'm going to change my preferences. I'm going to be using Epson Premium Glossy on high quality print. Make sure that I've got A4 document size. Okay, and print. And then I can say done. So as long as I don't go away from the screen, I will always be able to come back and cut those once we're ready. I'm just going to swap over to the desk view. So just to let you know, on our cardstock, I'm going to be using the medium cardstock setting. For our acetate, I'm going to be using the foil acetate setting on more pressure. And for our print then cut, I am going to also actually be using medium cardstock, and I'll probably do less pressure. And I think that, oh, and then we got the glitter cardstock, which I'm going to be using glitter cardstock for. So we're going to start with these. So another little trick, if you are doing all of the same material, then you will just click on remember material settings, and it won't ask you to change the material setting between cuts. So there's a little handy trick. Okay, so we're going to get to cutting, and I'm just having a good giggle because I did not size my pillow box. So this is a huge pillow box. It's absolutely huge. Okay, so this is the Love Note sampler that we are using. This is the Love Note sampler we will be using. I've already got the piece out that I want. Look at how huge I have made this. That is a huge pillow box, but it's fine. So I'm going to stick that there, let it dry a bit, and we're going to start. So I'm using AC cardstock. This is AC cardstock. This is our foil acetate Love Note sampler. This is a normal glitter cardstock that I found online, and this is our Cricut glitter cardstock. This is also the paper that I used. Again, you can use any paper as long as it prints well. You don't have to go out and look for a specific brand. Okay, so as always, I am just going to mirror my cardstock. So I'm not going to be mirroring the glitter cardstock, and the reason for that is it gets stuck to the mat. But for all of my smooth cardstocks, I am just going to mirror it. Okay, we're ready for this one. So Carlos asked the paper we're using, could we perhaps post a list on the group where we could purchase the different types and prices if possible? So some of these materials are not Cricut materials. They are actually different brands. So what we usually do during the week is we post the items used in class. and then we post links to where you can get them. But if it's an off-brand item, so for instance the AC cardstock, we won't cover every single item. But in last week's class, there was AC cardstock used and the previous class. So if you go and have a look at those posts from last week, they were posted by Zelda. You will find the links to the AC cardstock. I'm sure we will be able to find the Cricut ones. So we did already post the foil acetate. But I think we can definitely post something. Of course, we're not going to be able to cover every single off-branded item though. One thing is our focus will always be Cricut, because we absolutely love Cricut and that is what our group is about. Okay, so for this one now, I am scoring and then I'm cutting, so I'm using the scoring wheel. And you could also use your scoring stylus, so I'm going to have to remove that. I'm going to insert my scoring wheel, so it's a single scoring wheel. And it's going to score first. I see there's questions regarding Lolly buying sweets. I don't know what the question is, but I plead the fifth. And I love you all dearly. Okay, so there's our second printed sheet, and I'm going to cut those last. I'm just giving the ink a chance to settle. So once everything else has been cut, we will cut that. I'm just catching up with everyone in the chat. I feel like I've missed so much. But I love it. That's probably one of my favorite parts of these classes, is the community that goes on in the chat. So whenever it's somebody else's class, I love joining and chit-chatting with everybody, getting to know everyone. So it has on the screen told me to set up for the next step. So let me just jump over so you can see. So if you haven't seen it before, when it wants the blade back, it's going to tell you set up for next step. It's going to tell you to insert your fine point blade and then press the start button again. Okay, and with cardstock, we're going to flip it upside down. We're going to peel our mat away from our cardstock, because obviously we don't want it to bend and look icky. So there we are. So with these ones, I will have to bend it slightly more, the mat. So there we are. There's our little pieces there, ready, and now we're going to move on to the next sheet, which is also black. So in between, I am just double checking that I am cutting the right thing. I have obviously had it before where I don't cut the right thing, and that's very heartbreaking. Okay, so you can see all the score lines there. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's good. So you can see all of the score lines, and we're just going to be folding. You can see super easy. We're just going to be folding all of our score lines. Super, super easy. just like so. Just make sure everywhere is folded. Here we are. And we're going to stick that shortly. Okay. Now we're going to stick this aside. So the materials we're going to be cutting next are all materials that require a little bit more pressure, so I'm going to use a stronger mat for them. And just to point out, you obviously noticed that I didn't use the brayer, and the reason for that is my mat is still quite new. Even though it's getting a little dirty now, it is still quite new, and I didn't want my cardstock to get stuck to it. We will come back to that mat shortly. Okay, so we're going to stick this. And again, quite a new mat, so we should be good with not sticking it. And we are now moving over to the glitter cardstock. Let's just move that there so I can see. Glitter cardstock. Done. We'll use more pressure for that. Okay, so while that is cutting, which probably won't take that long, we're just going to fold our box together. So the piece that doesn't have the flaps, that's the piece that you're going to glue over there. So I'm using, what's this? What is this? This is Jewel Bond glue. I'm using Jewel Bond glue. And I'm just going to make sure it's in the right place. Yep. And I'm going to put Jewel Bond on here. So what I do is, you can see I'm putting it quite far from the edge, and then I take this piece, like so, when I can get my hands right, and I kind of drag it along so that I'm actually getting glue on the edge of that, like so, and then just make sure everything lines up nicely. Make sure it's all lining up nicely, like so. So you can see I haven't pressed it down yet, which allows me to kind of move it a little bit. And then we're going to press it all down. Here we are. So we just make sure it's all stuck down nicely. And we're just going to let that dry. So these are our little X's, our little, what is X's? X's are kisses, yes. X's are kisses and O's are hugs. The pen glue, so there was a big conspiracy about the glue because I didn't know. Oh yeah, I didn't know that they came without pins, so got into trouble for not telling someone. Okay, so this one I'm just going to, so I'm just using a little piece here, and I'm just going to arrange my design so that everything fits. That's good. And we're going to be using glitter cardstock again. Very simple. Again, brand new mat, so it's sticking beautifully, so I don't need to use the brayer. Okay, and there's our little boxy. Super simple. Like, this is literally yeah, the easiest box ever. The easiest box ever. There is our little boxy. it is there. So again, I do these for every occasion. And then I just decorate the front differently, and it's such a simple craft. So I will decorate with the flap at the back, so that when it opens, you're opening the back, not the front, and then you can see the front looks really cute. So I'll put that there. And here's our X's and O's, and we will start sticking these. Also super simple. I thought it just stopped, but it was done. So remember, if you're a beginner and you have not used a certain material before, or you're using a brand new sort of material, always check your material before unloading. If it hasn't cut through, then you can just press the go button again and it's going to recut it for you. Look how cute these little hearts are that it's left on my mat. Look at that, so cute. Very, very cute. And also, if you are one of the moms that get tasked with Valentine's Day treats for the class, these little pillow boxes are the greatest for that. Okay, so now we're going to be doing our foil acetate. And for this one, I am using more pressure, and the reason I'm using more pressure is because there is a layer on this. I can't remember which side, and I don't think I've taken it off. So I'm going to be cutting through that layer, so I'm using more pressure so that obviously it cuts through. We're going to stick that on. And we're just going to make sure it all fits. So we're just going to take that one down. Yeah, that'll fit. Okay, we're going to grab our tweezers. So I find it easier to work with tweezers. And we're going to start sticking these little guys down. Oopsie, no. So we just make sure we've got it in the right way. That looks good. Oopsie. My glue needs cleaning. 1 second. So Tanya says she forgot about the protective plastic liner on the acetate last night, and it took her a few tries. So that was me last class, so I didn't have an issue with cutting, but when I actually assembled the cake topper, I forgot that there was a second side to it, and I actually assembled it with that on. So if you have not watched that class, go back and watch it and see if you can pick up where I made the mistake. So I'm just going to double check this one, and this is what I mean by testing your cuts. So when I lift it, I can see it's cut through. And there it is, it's cut beautifully. Okay, now we're going to move back onto cutting our printing cut. So the reason I left the printing cut to last is because I wanted the paper to dry as much as possible so that there is no tearing when it's cutting. So for this, I'm just going to use medium cardstock, and I'm going to use less pressure. Just make sure that it lines up the way that it does on Design Space. So make sure you've got it the right way. There's a little arrow in the top corner. And for this, I'm really not going to press down hard at all. Oopsie, I'm just going to make sure the sides are kind of down, like so. It wants my scoring tool first. So we're going to go with that. And while that goes, we're going to carry on sticking our X's and our O's. So Carla asked, did I take the protective cover out before I cut the acetate? No, I did not. That's why I used more pressure. So I like to keep it on as long as possible because I don't like the glue from the mat getting on it, and I don't like scratches and hair getting on it. So I will actually take it off last minute, but it's very easy to forget. So just keep that in mind. And then obviously accommodate the extra pressure that you will need to cut through it. So that's my personal choice. I do not like to, that's not right, that's right, no. It should be XO, not OX. Oh, there, no. Oh my goodness, do you see what I've done? I've put on my O's sideways. It should be XOXO, so just make sure you put your X's on the, I mean your O's on the right way. So I'm just sticking those down again. Like so. Okay, we're good. We're good. Just make sure you can't see anything. All good. Okay, so it's XOXO. Oopsie, I almost unloaded. So we're going to put our blade in. So you can see it's scored and now it's asking for our blade back. So we're going to do that. We can go back there. And we're going to carry on with this. So it's XOXO, not OXOX. So what is everybody's kiddos doing for Valentine's tomorrow? That's actually the perfect way to get involved in this challenge, as well as if you have kids. Their school shirt that you're going to be making for them last minute because they only told you an hour ago that they need a school shirt for tomorrow. That's a perfect entry. So I think one of the common misconceptions, or one of the reasons that people don't really want to enter the challenge, is that maybe they feel like their stuff is not good enough, or it's not wow. But it's not about that. Cricut's entire motto or reason for being is to help people lead more creative lives, and that means being creative even in the small moments. So it is the core memories that you're helping to create for your children. It is the first day of school shirt. It is the little notes that you leave in their lunchbox that Cricut helped you make. It is the stickers that you made for the teacher so that she can put it into their books. It is all of the little moments. And that's what Cricut's about, and that's what we love seeing. We love seeing the little moments. Yes, we obviously love seeing the flamboyant creativity, but the little moments matter so much more. And it's so much more important to see somebody is trying and is being involved. So if you have been feeling apprehensive about joining a challenge, please join one. I'm sure you'll have loads of fun. It's a great way to get to know your machine better. And it's great to be part of a community. Okay, so we're doing our, oh no, have we lost an X? Oh, he fell. Let me just get the one that fell. We found the X, it was running. I'm sorry to tell you that your X is running. Oh no, Tanya said that the kiddos are too big for mommy goodies. I don't believe that. They're never too good for mommy goodies. You just gotta adjust and figure out what what is good enough for them now. Mumtaz, I will be very happy when wedding time comes. I will be right there planning with you. So you can see that my machine was sort of scanning, doing its thing. If you get to that point and it scans and it scans and it scans and it never cuts, and then it gives you a message to say that it cannot read your registration marks, usually why that is because there's too much light reflecting back into your sensor. So your sensor is located underneath the blade carriage, and if there is a big reflection coming from the light, so I've got an overhead light that's shining onto the paper, if that's causing a reflection back into the sensor, then it's going to tell me that it can't read the sensor. So to counteract that, what you can do is you can color over here with white chalk or a white crayon, or if you have like a frosted scotch tape, you can stick that over there. So oopsie, this is normal sellotape, obviously this will not work. You need the one that's like, it's like a frosted it's a frosted look one. That's all I can say. Okay, so now we're just going to check where our protective covering is. I think it's at the back here. There it is there. So with your foil acetate, the protective covering is on the not pretty side. So it's only got one protective covering on it. What we're going to do here is we're going to stick this directly onto our white cardstock. And to do that, I literally just stuck a little blob of glue, because remember, it's going to be hidden by your X's and your O's. So you can see I'm just assembling all of the little pieces that go with it. So we're going to stick that there. And we're just going to make sure that we take all of the protective coverings off, like so. And we're almost done. We're almost done. Like I said, super easy projects. And you know what, you don't have to do all of them. I just wanted to be able to give you something complete, so that if you didn't buy hubby anything yet, you have a very quick and easy way to try and make up for it. There we are. So we have those. So now what we're going to do is I use I use EVA with die cut and bond. You can use double-sided tape, you can use whatever works for you. So all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create some definition between our X's and O's and this piece. And then we're going to do the same on the box side of it as well. So we're just going to stick that behind. Oopsie. We're just going to stick that behind. And then this one will obviously need bigger pieces, so we're going to stick bigger ones. And yes, I know my machine's finished cutting. Let's stick 2 on this one. Ta-da! Let's do that. We can close that. So I'm removing it the same way I'm curling my mat. And kind of, oopsie, this one's not playing nice. So I'm just curling my mat to kind of get it away. There we are, sorted. Okay, so now we're just going to stick these on, and we're just getting to the very end pieces here. The very end parts, should I say. Just kind of make sure it's in the middle. Ta-da, very cute. Same with this one. Make sure you're saying XOXO, not ox ox. Because I don't think anybody ever felt very loved by ox ox. um, I think actually that's one of the things that I've never made is anything for a wedding. So if anyone's getting married and you need help, I am here. I will help you. Okay, so for attaching these onto the box and onto the front of the card piece, I actually decided to use normal Cricut glue, and the reason for that is what I've found is sometimes when you use a liquid glue, you can actually see those lines running through the cardstock, so you get kind of like little lines. I don't know how to explain that better. You can tell, you can tell this is my daughter's glue because it's yellow because she was coloring something and then gluing. It's really gross. So we just obviously make sure this is the right way, and we're just going to stick this on like so. Make sure it's lined up nicely, and then we're going to put our little ox onto it. I think I'll forever be calling it ox now because I like it. Susie says she made so much wedding stuff for her nephew and it was such fun. I must say I'm a little jealous. I would love to do some wedding stuffs. It's really fun. So I must say, okay, so there's our box done. Simple. There is our little treat box. You can put your treats in it. You can put a little gift in it. You can put whatever you want in it. Great for wedding favors, might I say. So I may have never done weddings, but I actually got to make a cake topper for a 98-year-old this week, and it felt like such an honor. I think it's so special that we get to be a part of these things and create memories for people we may never even meet. Just to be a part of that is so special. Love it. Okay, so I'm just doing this one now. Obviously just make sure it's on our edges nicely. Oopsie. And then we're just going to stick this straight onto here. Just make sure it's nicely aligned. Oopsie. And we can close that because we're not going to use that again. And then I'm going to grab my card base. So this is one of my favorite things to do. Just grab a Cricut card base. So easy. And I'm just going to stick this on here. Oopsie. So I'm trying to catch up with the chat, but it's moving a bit fast and I'm a little bit involved on this side, but I'm sticking double-sided tape. So what that's obviously going to do is that's going to give me a little bit of definition between the card base and where my design starts, and I love doing that. I love it. I think double-sided tape is probably one of my favorite things to craft with. Okay, just make sure we are the right way. There we are, and then we're just going to stick our ox onto it. So with these precision tips, I think you can usually find them in The quilling section. So they're really good for quilling. That's actually where I first got one, was with the quilling kit. And there we have our card. Super simple. So you can obviously print something, put it in there, you can write something, but look how cute that is. So cute. So we have our card, we have that, we have little hearts, very cute hearts. Let's just get rid of this. And now we're going to do our pillow box. So with our pillow box, we're going to fold it here in the center, like so. And then there's a piece here that we're going to fold. So the little flappy there. So Karen, the roll of double-sided tape that I use is called Die Cut and Bond. This is it here. So it is quite pricey, but you can see this is one piece. So you can see how much you're getting out of it. And what I do is I stick one piece on either side of EVA foam, and that is how I got this. So for me, I love this. It's just so much easier to work with because I can cut it exactly the size that I need it. And I can also color match it. So I can, if I'm working with a pink something, then I can get some pink EVA and make myself pink double-sided tape. So I love that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stick glue on here. And we're actually going to curl this a little bit. So you can see I'm curling it slightly because you want these two sides to match up like that. So Susie says the ox looks like a gremlin. After I made it and I was staring at it for long enough, I started seeing like aliens and all sorts of things. So gremlin I can do, and honestly I don't blame you for seeing it. Okay, so we're just tilting this slightly, making sure our edges match up. And I'm just grabbing a drink of water. So Kamal has just arrived, and he's at least here in time for the end of the class, which is lovely. Thanks for joining us, Kamal. Okay, so you can see that once I've glued it, it's slightly open because I've obviously had to pull it together so that it could sort of grab there, if you will. So now what we're going to do is we've got a little curve here and we've got one here and on either side. We are now going to very gently just sort of push this down. So it is quite tricky. This is probably the worst part of the whole process, is just getting this down. Oopsie, there we are. So there, it's all lined up, and then we're going to do the same for this side. So you can see I didn't glue it very well there, but it's fine. I can still glue it more. So you just got to work gently on this side. And then I like to just take my finger and just reinforce that sort of score line. Oopsie, I squashed my one side. And then we're going to do the same for this side. So we're just gently pushing down. Gently, gently. And you'll be able to see, so I don't think you can see it on the screen, but you'll be able to see the score line, and you just want to push it down up until the score line. And then again on this side, same thing. Just make sure it's all down. And then just kind of reinforce that score line with your fingers, very gently of course. It is easier when it's filled up. So right now it's obviously empty and it becomes harder to work with. Once it's filled up, it's got a bit of stiffness to it. It's going to be a whole lot easier to work with. I just dropped all my rubbish on the floor. All of it. And these are little hearts. Pretty hearts. Okay, so now we're just sticking our ox onto it. And these are ox. And there is our entire little set. Super, super easy. Here we are. Love it. Very, very cute. So I can't get the last one because I dropped it under my chair. Let me just grab it. If you do the design that I previously did, this is the size of the box that you will get. So this is perfect for little treats. This is like if you want to really spoil someone with treats. So this is the size that you will be making if you use my design, not our giant one. Not that we hate the giant one, it's really cool. So thank you all so much for joining. I hope that that was very helpful. I hope that you'll feel a lot more comfortable doing printing cuts. It's honestly super, super simple. If you are having problems, you're more than welcome to pop your questions here. So even if you jump on after the video has ended, after the live video has ended, we do check back and try and answer as many questions as possible. You're welcome to also tag me if you have a question, and I will help wherever possible. Thank you all so much for joining. I honestly have the best time with all of you, and I love seeing all of the familiar faces and the new ones too. I hope you all have an amazing week and an amazing Valentine's Day, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.